Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Annalisa and this is going to be a 2-week Pride Month vlog. I'm making it 2 weeks because 1, my reading has slowed down a bit, and 2, I want to slot in a tag video in there. I want to discuss Witchlings while I'm still thinking about it. I did finish this. I finished this in about 24 hours and I really enjoyed it. I'm really glad. It was a really soft and fluffy read, which is what I've been needing. It is a fantasy and it's about these 3 girls who don't get sorted into a coven when they're 12 like they're supposed to. They are spares, so they're leftovers because there's only a certain amount of witches in a coven. So when they have the wrong number of witches turning 12, they're always spares, and spares are treated really badly. And so it's about that, and it's about an impossible task that they are set in order to kind of win back some of their rights. So it's a whole messed up system. It's by Claribel A. Ortega, and I really liked it, and like I would have liked it unequivocally, except that the author said that it was a queer book. It's about as queer as the live action Beauty and the Beast from Disney. Like, there's 3 whole queer characters that are actually shown. Like, maybe some of these main characters are queer in the author's head and she's gonna do something with that in the next book, but on page, it's only shown and told that there are 3 characters and they're all super tertiary. One of them only has 1 speaking line and is only in 1 scene, and the others, one of them has 2 scenes and the other also has only 1 scene, and they're just super tertiary. So I'm like, none of the main characters are actually shown or told on page as being queer in any way. There's a tiny little hint that maybe they are, but I don't consider that to be really on page. Thought this was fit in with my Pride Month reads, but maybe the sequel will better. But other than that, I adored it, so I highly recommend it. Just maybe don't put it on your Pride book recs unless the author eventually actually says specifically which of the main characters is queer, or if any of them are. Same day, different outfit, because that shirt was not breathable and I was having a bad time. I overheat really easily, especially in the sun, and it was sunny today. I started reading Ellen Outside the Lines, and it says in the description that it's about her going on a trip and having to deal with her schedule being upset because there's a trip and everything's different, and she's autistic, so that's really hard. And already at the very beginning of the book, her friend isn't calling her and is changing schedules, and she's already getting close to overwhelm because of it. And I just really don't want to read a whole book with a lot of an autistic child having meltdowns, because that's extremely upsetting for me. So I'm gonna put this down for a while. So instead, I'm going to try The Mighty Heart of Sunny St. James, which is about a little girl who is having a heart transplant, and after the transplant she's going to try to remake herself and do new things, and she meets a new friend who she might be developing a crush on, so that's cool. It's by Ashley Herring Blake and has a very cute cover. Okay, so something real weird happened to the paint I was going to use to paint this thing I've been showing you. This piece of furniture. I'll show you some footage of it. Like, if it was just dried out, it would be intelligible. Like, oh, there's a hole in it, it dried out. But it turned into this sponge. It like separated, so it's part sponge, part liquid. Like, some chemical reaction happened. And it's not mixable, which is not just a thing of old paint. Like, we have much older paint. But right now I'm discouraged, so I'm just going to go back to plain oxygen not included. I've started a new colony because I've learned a lot, and so I'm going to set up things really differently from the beginning. I'm saving my old colony in case I want to go back to it, but I think it's irretrievable at this point. My people are starving, they're also running out of air, and I'm nowhere near reaching space, and everything's overheating, and it's hard to cool stuff down when you don't have access to space. So now I'm going to learn how to set up a heat sink, which is apparently how you're supposed to do it. Ignore the towels drying on my flippy machine. But Frodo is just being so cute. He's got his chin propped on the blanket. I love him so much. So I was starting to feel real depressed this afternoon. Not really sure why. I took a salt pill in case it was an electrolyte problem. But anyway, I got book mail and it's made me very happy. First of all, we have Fire Becomes Her, which has polyam and asexual representation, which is awesome. It's by Rosie Thor, who's the same person who wrote Tarnished Are the Stars. So I really like that book, so I'm really excited about this one. And my library didn't buy this one, so I decided to buy it myself. Isn't it gorgeous? It's so beautiful, so I'll probably read that this week. And also, my favorite anime, Snow White with the Red Hair, 2 new volumes have been translated since I last went shopping for them, so I ordered both of those and I'm gonna read those right now and I'm really excited about it. Okay, so it's the 16th of June and I'm not doing a specific Pride video today, but I want to do Pride makeup. What I am doing is a tag video about being a book omnivore. But I'm going to do my makeup for it and just say it's Pride Month makeup. And so I've got lots and lots of eyeshadow here, because most of it's going to be eyeshadow that I'm going to, I think, make drip down my face like this. Because I've done just rainbows just on my eyelids before, and so I want to do something bigger. Before I take my makeup off, I'm going to do an update for this video. So I finished Colonize This, which was a collection of essays by intersectional feminists, mostly women of color. There were some adoptees in there, which I didn't expect. That was cool. There were also a fair number of queer writers of various kinds. I really enjoyed it. It was informative. It also reinforced a lot of stuff that I had already heard. Just felt encouraging to listen to. I finished those 2 books that I showed you me getting in the mail. 2 of them. The 3rd book I haven't started yet. But these really made me happy, so I'm really glad. They came at a great time. I'm really happy with these. It's just a continuation of the story and a little bit of evolution. A little bit of the evolution was in a direction I didn't like for one of my ships, but oh well, everything else was really great. And I've been working on Sister Outsider for a long time. I finally got the audiobook version and I was able to finish that fairly quickly. Audre Lorde is a fairly big feminist thinker and had a lot of things to say on being a black woman and being a lesbian and how those things interact with each other and various communities that don't want to accept her, and how she's raising her son, and socialism versus capitalism, and the time she spent in Russia visiting and kind of doing a conference there. So that was all really interesting. Oh, I forgot star ratings. 5 stars to Colonize This, 5 stars to everything I've discussed so far. I can't give less to that than that to my favorite anime, and also pretty much nonfiction, unless I think it was like written really confusingly or expressed badly for some reason. I'm pretty much gonna give that 5 stars because I can't really judge the content, and it's not about enjoyment particularly, unless it was, especially if it's not about one of my identities. Like if it was a book about being autistic, I would probably like be able to judge it harshly. Even if like on an enjoyment level I enjoyed Colonize This more, the point of nonfiction isn't really enjoyment, so I don't really grade it on that. And then I have started Manhunt, which is a trans woman's response to the various gender plague books that have come out this year. Like books have come out, which it was probably written before that, so before this year, but like several have come out this year, and that's when I've become more aware of it. But there have been a lot of gender plague books in the last 5 years, and they tend to be quite anti-trans, if they even acknowledge trans people's existence, let alone intersex people. So Gretchen Felker Martin wrote this pro-trans version of that, and I think it's a bit of a spoof. That feels like the way it's been written so far. Yeah, it says the end of the world is nuts on the side of it, and of course it has that cover, so which hopefully YouTube doesn't have a problem with. I might make a TikTok before I take this makeup off. That would probably be a good idea. I had so much fun doing my makeup the other day that I decided to do it again. This time we have lesbian colors. There's a little bit of white there at the edges of my eyes. So I finished 2 more books. One is a historical romance by Adriana Herrera, who I don't think has written historical romance before, has just written more contemporary, but I really loved Here to Stay. The plot heavily involves a kitten bringing the 2 parts of the couple together, so I love that. But this one I heard of from Cynthia's channel and was immediately like, I want to read that. And my library didn't have it, so I went ahead and bought the ebook, and it was absolutely delightful. This is set around at the time of the Paris World Exposition, when they built the Eiffel Tower. And it is inspired by how many Black people, and in this case specifically Caribbean Black people, and Adriana Herrera primarily writes Afro-Latinx main characters, were at that expo and were showing their goods. So this involves a half Afro-Latinx woman who's also half white, and specifically half Irish. She inherited her distillery from her parents and is now trying to make sales. So she goes to the expo to show off her rum, and she meets someone who sells whiskey, and because both of them had clauses kind of in their parents' will that mean they need to get married in order to access their inheritances, they think that a marriage of convenience would work great. So that's what ends up happening, and I really enjoy that trope. And I really like the way that this one worked out. It had a lot of sweet moments. The extra characters were really cool. She has some girlfriends who I think are going to be the stars of the next characters in a little series. Then I finished The Mighty Heart of Sunny St. James. This has bi and lesbian representation of these little girls. They're about 12, so they're just figuring out who they might like in a romantic way. Our main character hasn't had a negative experience where she told a friend that she was thinking about kissing girls, and then that girl went and told everybody, a group of other girls, and outed her, and then was extra disrespectful on top of that. And so she's kind of scared of those feelings now. She also has had to have a heart transplant, as I said earlier, and she also had a mom who had to give her up when she was 4 because the mom was an alcoholic and wasn't able to take care of her well, and now that mother is coming back into her life. So she's got lots of things that she's dealing with when she meets this other character who also likes girls. And they start forming a relationship while all this other stuff is going on in Sunny's life. So it's a very complicated story, but also ultimately simple in a good way. It is about love in many different forms and how important it is and how versatile it is, and some about forgiveness and a lot about getting past hurts. There's some surfing involved. There's some dyeing of hair involved. As you can see, this character has blue hair. And there's the found family that Sunny has been raised by this whole time. I really, really enjoyed this. 5 stars, and 5 stars to the Caribbean Heiress in Paris as well. I finished painting and putting new knobs on that piece of furniture I was talking about before, so I'll show you that. It might look a bit gaudy to some people, but it's perfect for me. I'm really, really happy with how it turned out. And I'm also just starting Deep in Providence. I actually saw videos from the author on TikTok and like really liked what she had to say about it, and it sounded really good, so I got it from the library and I've started it. And I think necromancy is involved. The author said that it was a queer read, so. And now I'm gonna record some more Book Rec TikToks. It's Juneteenth, so the Queer Blackathon has started. So I'm going to be reading Deep in Providence, and this goes through the 21st. It's a 48-hour readathon, so it will probably take me at least that long to read this because it's a 450 pager. I'm also having an allergy attack if I sound a bit stuffed up. Also, it's Sunday, so I'm going to church this morning. I don't go to church every Sunday, but Sunday school runs through the school year, and I go to that. And then in the summer, sometimes we go to the traditional service because there's less of our pastor talking and more singing and stuff like that, and scripture reading. Because neither me nor my mom particularly gets anything out of our pastor's teaching. He's just doesn't have that much to say. So one of the fun parts about 24 and 48-hour readathons is staying up late and or getting up early. So I'm going to bed a little earlier than usual at about 9:30, but I am 50 pages into Deep in Providence. I think I'm going to read for an hour, and then I'll update you and see how far I get in that amount of time. So I forgot Deep in Providence is a ghost story, so it is a bit too creepy to be reading at night in the dark. But I did get to page 100, and some creepy things are happening. But I think I better go to sleep now. 10:30. I'm dog sitting again, this time for my aunt. She has a puppy who's about 3 to 4 months old. But I'm going to close out the vlog here, and I will put more of that in the next vlog. And there will also be camping in the next vlog if everything goes to plan. So for Juneteenth, I got to 150 pages of Deep in Providence. Then I got bogged down because it was a very sad book. But then on the 20th, out came This Wicked Fate, and so it showed up on my Kindle, and so I started reading that. I got to 15% of that, and it was a lot of digesting and getting started stuff from the big things that happened at the end of the last book, which was understandable because it's kind of a big thing, and like a lot of stuff to process, but it's also kind of a downer, and the whole book will probably have this kind of stressful thing hanging over it. So I think I'm gonna have to read that slowly as well. So I also started reading Take a Hint, Dani Brown, rereading it. And I didn't remember how much I like this because I like it less than the other two Brown sisters, but like that's because I love them so much. It's still a really good book. She's a commitment phobe, and I am a commitment-ophile. So I don't get along with commitment phobes very much. I can only read so many romance books in a row with commitment phobes in them, but I haven't read any of those lately, so I'm ready to read this one, and I'm enjoying it quite a bit. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.